The wind howled outside the wooden cabin, carrying flakes of snow that danced against the window panes. Emily stood by the fire, her hands trembling as she tried to warm them. It had been 3 winters since he left. 3 winters since she had watched Daniel ride off into the blizzard with a promise he never kept. Every night since, she'd lit a lantern and left it on the porch, hoping one day he would find his way back home. But the silence of the forest was her only answer. Tonight felt different. There was something in the air, an ache, a weight, a quiet pull that made her heart beat faster. The crackle of the fire couldn't drown out the sound she thought she heard, footsteps crunching through the snow. She froze. For a moment, she thought it was her imagination again, another cruel trick of her lonely heart. But then she saw the faint glow of a lantern approaching through the storm. When the figure appeared, her breath caught. It was him. The same strong shoulders, the same determined eyes, though now they carried shadows she didn't recognize. He stepped onto the porch, snow clinging to his hair, a soft cry echoing from his arms. She gasped. He was holding a baby. Daniel. Her voice cracked like fragile glass. What is this? He didn't answer at first. He looked exhausted, worn by more than travel. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. His name is Samuel. Her heart pounded as the baby whimpered. Whose child is that? She asked, though the answer already burned in her chest. Daniel's eyes met hers, filled with guilt. He's mine, he whispered. And he's hers too. The world around her seemed to tilt. The firelight blurred, her knees weakened, and for a moment she couldn't breathe. She had dreamed of his return 1,000 times, but never like this. She wanted to scream, to cry, to hit him for what he had done. But instead, she only whispered, You promised me you'd come back. I did, he said softly, stepping closer. But I wasn't the same man when I found my way home. The snow outside thickened, covering the world in silence. Inside, Emily's tears fell quietly as she stared at the man she had once loved more than her own life, and the child that carried his face. The night dragged on in slow, aching silence. Emily sat near the fire, rocking slightly, her mind spinning with questions that hurt too much to voice. Daniel had placed the baby in a small cradle by the hearth. The child slept peacefully, unaware of the storm that raged between the 2 adults. Finally, Emily spoke. Tell me everything. No lies, Daniel. Not tonight. He nodded, eyes heavy with shame. When I left, I didn't know if I'd survive. The war changed everything. The men I fought beside, the people I met, the things I had to do. One night after a battle, I was wounded and taken in by a woman named Clara. She saved my life. He paused, his jaw tightening. I thought I'd never see you again. I thought you were gone. So you forgot me? She said bitterly. I tried not to, he whispered, but I was lost. She was kind, and when the baby came, I thought it was a second chance at something good. But Clara, his voice broke. She didn't make it. She died bringing him into this world. Emily's chest ached. The anger she wanted to hold on to began to crumble under the weight of his pain. And now you bring him here? She asked. To me? I didn't know where else to go, he said honestly. You were my home once, Emily, the only one I ever had. She stood, tears streaming down her face. You broke me once when you left, and now you bring back the proof that you stopped loving me. I never stopped, he said fiercely, stepping closer. But I don't expect forgiveness. I just couldn't leave him behind. The baby stirred, and Emily turned her gaze toward the small bundle. He was so tiny, his face peaceful. For a moment, something inside her softened. She knelt beside the cradle and gently touched his hand. It was warm, alive, innocent. I don't hate him, she whispered. I just don't know if I can love him. Daniel watched her, eyes glistening. You already do, he said quietly. Because you have a heart that still cares, even when it's broken. The fire crackled, and for the first time in years, Emily didn't feel alone, even though her heart ached more than ever. Morning came with a fragile peace. The snow outside had stopped, blanketing the cabin in stillness. Emily woke to the soft cooing of the baby and the scent of wood smoke. Daniel was at the stove, preparing something warm, his movements careful, almost hesitant. For hours, neither spoke. The air was thick with all the things they hadn't said. Finally, Emily broke the silence. What will you do now? Daniel turned, his expression tired but calm. I'll go if you want me to, but Samuel deserves a chance. He deserves warmth, love, and a home, even if it's not with me. She looked at him for a long time, the man who had shattered her heart yet somehow still held a piece of it. "Leaving again won't fix anything," she said softly. "You came back for a reason, maybe. We're both meant to start over." He blinked, unsure if he'd heard her right. Emily approached him, her hands trembling slightly. "I don't know if I can forgive you today," she continued. "But I can try. For him." Daniel nodded slowly, tears welling up. He reached out, and for the first time in years, their hands met. Rough, scarred, but still familiar. The baby giggled suddenly, as if sensing something new in the air. Hope, fragile and pure. Emily smiled faintly through her tears. "Maybe this is what love looks like," she whispered, "when it survives the storm." Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, touching the snow with gold. Inside the cabin, a broken family began to heal. Not perfectly, not easily, but together. And as the lantern by the door flickered one last time before the day swallowed its light, Emily realized that some secrets, no matter how painful, are what bring us back to the people we're meant to find again.